This sermon is titled, "This is War." When you think of war, you see these big epic images and explosions, or maybe there's swords and things. And this sermon's about how this planet is a war zone. We're walking right now through a minefield of problems, of deceptive theology, of temptations and nasty things like that, that can possibly destroy us in the end. What is a mine, though, real quick? A mine, a land mine, is something that somebody like this kind gentleman is putting in the ground right here. When you step on it, it sets off a trigger. And the metal casing of the mine is exploded into shrapnel, and the force of the explosion frequently kills the person that stepped on it or destroys their legs. There's a movement for awareness about mines going on, and it's called Miss Minefield. And it's kind of like Miss America, but they dress these women up in dresses, but they have a leg missing. And it is because mines are so disgusting, such a cowardly way to fight, that they're trying to help people to raise funds and different things like that so they can go around to various known minefields around the world and run over them with different machines and things like that, destroying the mines, or to do mine sweeping. That's real, by the way, it's not just a computer game. Do mine sweeping so they can find them and defuse them. Here's how a minefield works. See the pink zones up there? Those are minefields, and you can see there's a blue-ish line running around them that would be the safety zone that you would walk through. This is in a valley. This is a protected valley. It's actually more dangerous, but it's called a protected valley because these minefields have been laid out in this map so that if anybody's coming through on the normal roads, they'll get destroyed, they won't be able to make it through. But if you have the mine map, then you can make it through safely. Pretty heinous. And actually, you can see there's a road that extends. The top, or the middle minefield actually has kind of a panhandle off to the side, and it follows a road so that there's a large number of mines for people to run into as they're traveling along this well-traveled road. Not very nice. Spiritual minefields have been planted and maintained by various groups throughout history. These groups of people. Orders for the design and placement of these minefields are secretly given by none other than our enemy, Satan. Here's an example. In Babylon, the ancients learned self-driven salvation, and to do that they pleased the gods with human sacrifice or offerings to idols, or by inflicting pain upon themselves, they'd flog themselves, or wear kind of like with like really tight chainmail bracelets and things like that. Or they would sing mantras over and over again in order to earn the respect or the appeasement of whatever god they happen to be worshiping. That's one mine, self-driven salvation. Another mine, Nebuchadnezzar, as an example, was injured by a mine that scarred him with the "I am glorious" injury. In Daniel 4:29 we read, "As the king was walking on the roof of the royal palace of Babylon, he said, 'Is this not the great Babylon that I have built as the royal residence by my majesty and power and for the glory of my majesty?'" And, God surgically removed his pride from him. If you read the rest of the story, it's a very fun story. Nebuchadnezzar went insane for 7 years and ran around eating grass and stuff. But anyway, so God had to rescue him from this mine injury. You get the metaphor. I'm going to read you something that scarred an awful lot of people. Actually scarred more people mentally than it did physically, but it did scar a lot of people physically. Chernobyl. This is a city that was in the USSR, and they had a nuclear power plant, if you don't know. The nuclear power plant had a problem. I'll read this. Technicians at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine ordered the test ordered to test the safety emergency reactor core cooling system on the number 4 reactor. The test was delayed during the day, and the night shift operators arrived at midnight, but were unprepared to carry out the test. April 26, 1986, this is when this is happening. The reactor is inadvertently powered down to just 1% of its capacity. To counter this and increase the power in order to conduct the test, the operators removed the control rods. Control rods are these big, thick graphite rods that tame the nuclear reaction that's happening in the core. The system, this destabilized the reactor. The reactor has a design flaw that makes it unstable at low power. New power plants don't have this issue anymore, but this particular one had this design flaw. Not knowing the reactor is now unstable, the operators commenced their safety test at 1:23 a.m. The operators turn off the reactor's turbine and wait for the safety system to start. The turbine drives the reactor's cooling system, and water pumps so that the flow of water drops. With less water to cool it, the reactor gets hotter and hotter, and more steam is generated, increasing the pressure inside to a huge degree. The operators try to reduce the power inside the reactor by reinserting the control rods, and instead this has the effect of massively increasing the power inside the reactor beyond its capacity. The pressure cannot be contained. The nuclear reaction cannot be stopped. The reactor goes critical. April 26, 1986. The worst nuclear disaster the worst nuclear accident in history is seconds away. At 1:24 a.m., the first explosion blows the lid off the reactor. The lid weighs 2,000 tons. A second, more powerful explosion that follows later. Burning debris is thrown high into the air, and the reactor's roof starts on fire. Air is now entering the open reactor, and the oxygen in the water vapor in the air is separated from the hydrogen, and the oxygen ignites. Oh, the hydrogen can ignite too, can't it? Actually, I guess it's the hydrogen that ignites. The roof was blown open like a book, and there was a magnificent light, a beautiful blue fire. This is from an eyewitness account by Vasily Tikhomirov, a soldier at the scene later. The beautiful blue fire will spread radiation across Europe. 50 tons of nuclear fuel is thrown into the atmosphere. It was the equivalent of 10 Hiroshima bombs of nuclear radiation falling onto Europe. One man was sleeping in his bunk bed up in the top of the reactor, or near the top of the building, and he woke up seeing the wall of his bedroom burning and melting away, and looked out and could directly see the reactor having this runaway reaction. And he said, or he was able to live just long enough to record what it looked like. He said that it looked like shimmering blue laser light. There were balls of white-hot plasma circulating inside. He said it was the most beautiful thing he's ever seen. And then somebody grabbed his shirt sleeve and pulled him behind a concrete and lead barrier, which saved his life. He didn't live much longer, having been in that radiation. But this guy was a hero. So he pulled the arm of the dying man to save him. In the process, he exposed himself to the deadly radiation. The Soviet government's first reaction to the 1986 catastrophe at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was to hide it from the world. Only when confronted with irrefutable evidence, like people in Germany going, like 400 people just got cancer. What's up with that? Where's this coming from? Only when confronted with irrefutable evidence did the officials admit that one of the plant's reactors had exploded, releasing a radioactive cloud that spread over the country and across Europe. In the direness of the situation, if the direness of the situation had been properly communicated, tens of thousands of people could have been saved, and many workers stayed behind anyway, giving their lives to pour a tomb of reinforced concrete around the yellow-hot reactor. There's still heat being emitted from this area today.